Hello darlings, businessman Boaty here on a Wednesday afternoon, and I've just been visited by a lovely chap called Nick, and we've done a rather clever little business deal. I am going to have this as a backdrop to a live stream, and shout out the company. Let's give it a shout out here. Rent. Residential letting specialists. Highly recommended. We've had a good old chat. He's a top bloke. If you live somewhere around Newark or Lincoln or anything around there and you want to rent a house, this is the guy to go to. So I'm doing this, and I'm going to have that as a background to tonight's live stream. And I've done that in return for 2 bottles of wine and, wait for it, some sausages. Some Premier sausages. These are supposed to be really quite superb. There is a story behind these, but there you go. I just love this idea. This is typical Boaty's world. Any other channel, your Hubnuts, your Sean's, they'd have an arrangement, there'd be a contract, there'd be money in the bank. Nick messaged me at stupid o'clock after the live stream and said, if I bring you some wine and sausages, do you want to stick that up in there? And I think this is just so, I think it's just so perfect for me, and a really good laugh. It's only a bit of fun. It's not a serious business thing. He was passing today, fancied meeting me and thought this would be a bit of fun, and it really is. I'm very happy to do it. And just to put it out there, if you've got a business that you would like advertising and you are prepared to give me really good, you don't have to give me money, darlings, although I would accept money. If you want to give me real quality food products and alcohol, I'm your man. I'll advertise it. Oh dear. Right then, darlings, you join me at work, but I'm about to leave and go home. Now, I apologise that what with one thing and another, didn't get a video done today, so you're gonna have to have this, I'm afraid. A driving home from work little bit of a chitty chat. Lights still on up there. You can't see, I can. But it's up there that I kind of want to talk about. Now, I spoke about this at length on the live stream last night, but I'm aware that not everybody watches the live streams. So I kind of think that if I cover something in the live stream, I still need to mention it in a video as well, because I've got people who watch the live streams but don't watch the videos, but also vice versa. I've got people who will watch the videos but who don't watch the live stream. So for those of you who already know, bear with me. But the Airbnb thing is happening now, and it's happening a lot quicker than expected. I won't bore you with the full detail. As I say, I did all of that on the live stream last night, but boots have been put up arses, and the big boss of the building firm is in with his top blokes up there, and basically, cut a long story short, pardon me, upstairs has been, they've promised a timescale for upstairs being finished, completed, all of the building work, all of the decorating work, finished in 2 weeks. Now, that's probably going to be a bit optimistic still. Although coming from the big boss, he seemed very confident of timescales and what was being done and what had already been done and so on, and things are a lot more clear now, a lot more straightforward. So, you know, let's say that 2 weeks could stretch to 3 or 4 weeks, but you know, 4 weeks, let's say 4 weeks as an outside. So within 4 weeks, I could be setting up upstairs, and that's kind of a bit daunting now. It's actually happening. It's all done. The deal is done with the landlord. The deal is done with me and Bish. It's all sorted, done and dusted, kippers and custard. So we should be getting a blank canvas upstairs. It should be all done, ready to go, decorated. We're just going to have to furnish it. So that's kind of a bit of a wake-up call to think, shit, right, it's actually happening in maybe 3 or 4 weeks. Blimey. So I need to start getting my head around it. I'm going to share everything with you lot again, as I was saying on the live stream last night, and any ideas and whatnot will be more than welcome. I'd love this to be a community thing, a thing that we do together, that you guys are involved in, as long as you're willing. So yeah, so I've started. Oh bollocks! Bloody red light. So I've started doing a bit of research, looking at other Airbnbs in the area, looking at what's involved, etc. Looking at trying to gauge prospective prices, and I might already have had a change of heart. Now, my idea was always to do it as a shared space. People rent a room. Now I'm wondering whether it wouldn't be better just doing it as an entire property. If for no other reason, then I think it would be a lot less hassle. You just put a key box outside, key in there, you know, one of those coded boxes. Change the code every time. When the guest is coming, they've got the code, they grab the key. You make sure the place is prepared, leave them to it. Whereas doing it as a shared space, effectively somebody's got to be, well let's face it, I've got to be there all the time. So yeah, already had a possible change of heart, but realistically I can't really even begin to start planning anything until I get my arse up there and check it out, because it's so long since I've been up there and I've never really had the opportunity to have a proper nosy round, and equally I don't know what work is being done up there. And I know that structurally they're having to change a right load of rotten timber, new ceilings, potentially new floors as well, I imagine. So there's kind of no point getting ahead of myself and guessing. I think I'm just going to have to wait until they're done. We get the keys to all ours, and then we'll go up there, assess the space, and figure out how to work it best in terms of logistics, viability, profitability. So that's quite exciting, really. What are you doing, mate? Oh, bumholes. I completely forgot. Bloody road is closed, isn't it? Shit, I shouldn't have come this way. Christ on a bike, how do I work around this now? Oh, this is a nose. Oh, right, I wonder how far it's closed for. Oh, one of those things, I knew about it, the signs had been up there, but I forgot what the date was it was closed. It's closed for 5 nights, I think. So remind me, darlings, that not to come this way again. Oh, come on, guys. Familiar with these roads as I used to be. I used to be around here all the time when I was working from Clay Cross. So I'm going to have to... oh, this drops down to the T-junction with the railway line to the right, doesn't it? So presumably I'll be able to chuck a left there and just head back up to the main drag. Stone Broom, isn't it? Yeah, I think so. Anyway, so the deal that's been done with the Airbnb, and I apologise, darlings, that there's probably, for the next little while, there's going to be a bit of a focus on this Airbnb stuff. So I apologise for that, but it's kind of inevitable. It's a big project. A lot of money's been put into it. And, you know, it could make a little difference to... Well, it could make a big difference to my day-to-day existence, because it's going to be a full-time job for me. If not immediately, then it's certainly going to be a full-time job when what's happening now? When Clay Cross is done too, because we are doing the same at Clay Cross. And again, that's been decided. As I told you before, it's a different situation at Clay Cross. It's more straightforward because we own the building, but it's a little more complicated and more expensive because more extensive work is going to be required at Clay Cross. But you know, it's going to be a big old change in my life. It's my project, just not my money, my idea, and I'm going to be day-to-day micromanaging it. So I guess that's going to be a massive chunk of my life taken care of, doing that. I guess that's going to be effectively what I do, certainly what I do during the day. During the evenings, I still plan to be doing what I'm doing now, and I definitely plan to keep doing YouTube. More of it. I'm hoping that it will work out as, oh, what's the word? There's a posh word that I would love to use, and I can't. Is it symbiotic? Or am I thinking of the wrong word? Here we are, so railway line's just to our right. See the bridge? Oh, you can't see the bridge there, can you? And we're going to chuck a left here through Morton, and this will bring us back up onto the main road a little bit further down. Bit of a ball ache. Turn right there for Pilsley. It's all coming back to me now. What was I talking about? Oh right, yeah. So yeah, it's good. Oh yeah, symbiotic relationship. Yeah. So I'm hoping that the Airbnb stuff will provide some content for the YouTube channel. Oh come on, mate. Wait. flashed you twice. Fuck's sake. Alright. Well, that's very kind of you. Thank you very much indeed. Appreciate it. Yeah, so hopefully the Airbnb stuff will get content for the channel. Hopefully you lot will be interested in it in some way, and hopefully it'll bring me in more people, a different subject, a more exciting project, than, you know, might be a more dynamic content than me just driving to work on a Thursday kind of thing. So yeah, hopefully it might grow the channel, and vice versa. Hopefully the YouTube content will help the Airbnb. We shall see. We shall see. Here we go, darlings. We're jumping back onto the main road. But that's completely my fault. I should have remembered the bloody road was closed. And that's gonna... Oh. Where have you come from? So that's gonna make tonight a little bit of a squeeze in terms of getting back for the live stream, but there we are. There we are. So, I don't keep very much private. I kind of put my whole life on YouTube, for better or worse, so I might as well keep doing the same. So the deal on the upstairs is the initial deal, which is going to run for 6 months, is Vishnu and the landlord are going to do it in partnership. The landlord has thrown 50k plus at doing all of the work required upstairs, and we're not going to pay any rent on it. Bish will fund kitting out the Airbnb, so all of the furniture, appliances, so on and so on and so on, and he and the landlord will do a profit share, if there is any profit. Now, if that goes tits up, doesn't work for whatever reason, then we will just rent it in the normal way from the landlord and do whatever we want to do with it. So either way, we're taking it on ad infinitum until such time as the landlord is willing to sell the entire building, if and when that happens. But it is going to be ours. Here's the other restaurant on the left hand side, darlings, and that is also going to be another Airbnb in the new year. Well, next year, should we say. So where do I come into it? Well, the landlord is obviously completely hands off, nothing to do with it, and Vishnu is also going to be completely hands off. He wants absolutely nothing to do with it whatsoever, other than putting up the money and taking the profit. So basically I'm going to be completely on my own with it, and I will be paid something, God knows what. Realistically, that was always the only way that it could be, because obviously I've got no funds. I can't do anything myself. Although there is still a possibility, had I thought, but doing it this way, then the place gets set up. I can do a proper job. I've got, within reason, unlimited funds to do it very properly indeed. and I will get some form of a wage. And you know, the cold hard truth and the bottom line is that might mean that I don't have to be as cold this winter as I was last winter. You know, maybe I'll be able to have the heat on sufficiently that Christ, he was pushing it, that I won't have to be sitting in big thick outdoor woolens inside, and maybe I'll be able to pay my council tax and all of that, you know. Basically, maybe I'll be able to keep my head above water much more so than I'm doing now on a day-to-day basis, and that would be both a blessing and a relief, in all honesty. And I suppose in many ways it's actually the perfect situation for me personally, because I know that Vishnu doesn't have a second of time, and he's made it abundantly clear that he wants absolutely no involvement whatsoever. So in that sense, it's going to be entirely my own project. I'm in complete control of every aspect of it. So to all intents and purposes, it's my business, and that's important because it gives me the challenge that, to be honest, I thought I would never get again. I thought that side of my life, the business side of my life, was gone, done and dusted, kippers and custard. But it looks like there might be a last hurrah or two. And that's a double-edged sword as well, because I'm an old man now, and it's a while since I've done anything in terms of proper business. So who knows whether I've still got it. Whatever I had within me that enabled me to build several successful businesses, who knows if I've still got it. We're going to find out, aren't we? But there we are. It gives me that possibility to exercise and stretch the side of me which hasn't been exercised or stretched for quite a few years now. And yeah, that's exciting. But I'm at no financial risk. How could I be? I've got nothing to invest. But I've got that complete control, and I don't need to have any worries about job security or anything like that, because it's me and Bish. We're like brothers. He has wanted some form of business involvement with me. He's for years and years and years, and literally for years he's been encouraging me to say, come on, what can we do together, what can we do together? And this is it. But of course when he says together, he just means he's treated me like family. He's looking for an opportunity. He's looking for an opportunity to further his own business interests, but also look after me. And you know, so I don't have to worry about him bloody changing his mind or selling up or bringing somebody else in. You know, it's going to be my thing, and if it so ticks all the boxes, really gives me that professional itch to scratch, and hopefully it will give me a little bit more financial security. And you know, this could be the thing. This could be my little slot in Vishnu's business empire, and that's what I do until the day I turn my toes up. It might not work at all, but it might, and you know, could lead to other things. We live on the edge of we we are on the edge of the Peak District National Park. Vishnu is moving into property. If this works, get a holiday let. Somewhere a bit more lovely and idyllic in the Peak near to Windy Bum. And finally, one more thing. Finally, for this very informal little video chat, it won't be the final thing that I say on the matter. As I say, this is going to be a massive focus moving forward. But the final thing to say tonight is the biggest weight that's going to be lifted off my shoulders is this. I've lived in fear for the last 9 years, and I've lived in fear of losing my home. Now, if you're fairly new to the channel, you might not know the backstory, but when I moved into Windy Bottom, believe it or not, it was my last choice. I didn't want to move there. Difficult to believe given how much I utterly love it now, but I really didn't want to move there. It was and I only took Windy Bum because there was literally nowhere else, and we're going to be within a few days of actually being on the street. It was literally Windy Bum or nothing, and I chose Windy Bum. Now, thank God I did. That's the universe at work, because obviously it's a match made in heaven. I adore it. But when I moved into Windy Bum, I knew that it was only going to be short term. The chap who lived there, who owned it, he was in his late 90s, and he'd lived there until he couldn't live there any longer, and he went into a care home. His desire was that the cottage was not sold as long as he was alive, but it was clearly understood that, you know, when his time, bless him, eventually came, the cottage would be sold and the money divided between his two sons, and that was always a deal. And I knew that when I moved in, and for that reason it became very unfortunate that I began to fall deeply in love with Windy Bum, because I knew I was only going to be there for a finite period of time, and I was dreading having to move out because my credit rating is sufficiently bad that I struggle to rent anywhere privately, and the only way I got into Windy Bum was with a guarantor, and amazingly that guarantor was my ex-wife, bless her. But she ain't going to be doing that again. She did that when we were still in a relationship, although we were divorced. And I thought, if I lose Windy Bum, I'm going to really, or when I lose Windy Bum, I'm going to really struggle. But I tried not to think about it, and I thought, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it, blah, blah, blah. And of course, then when the old man died, I was firmly expecting to get my 2 months notice to quit. But during that time, I'd met one of the sons, his name's Chris, who was looking after this side of things, and he'd been around a few times and we'd chatted. No, I rent it through a lettings agency, but he was quite hands-on, and we had actually met and we had actually chatted, and he sort of and he'd asked me, he said, do you like it here? And I said, I love it here, right? If it was left to me, I would never leave. I adore this place. And we had a really good landlord-tenant relationship. he respected the fact that it was my home and just left me alone and gave me anything I needed, anything I asked for, and even things I didn't ask for. He landscaped the garden, cost about £17,000, not something I asked for, but he did it because he felt it needed to be done. And I respected the fact that it was his property, and I've always treated it with respect, looked after it. And I'm about to get home, so I need to finish this story, don't I? So when, unbeknownst to me, when the old man sadly eventually passed away, Chris bought out his brother's share and left me here. We had a gentleman's agreement that as long as it suited us both, it'd carry on, and it has done. And I'm blessed, but there's still always a possibility that he might change his mind. He might want it sold for some reason when laws change or tax laws change. He might, he's not in his first flush of youth. He might pass away and his estate might decide they don't want it to continue. And that's always been like a sword of Damocles hanging over me. Now, and this is the weight I'm talking about being lifted, I don't have to worry about that, because there's going to be somewhere that I can move into straight away. I would just take on Ripley as my own home. So, yeah, that is a weight lifted, one thing I don't have to worry about. And as you can see, I've arrived home. So on that note, I will say apologies for this being just a chat in a car driving home, but there you go. Thank you for your company. I really appreciate it. Honestly, it means might be quite exciting times coming up, and it's going to be all the more exciting for having you guys along to share it with and to support me and give me ideas, and it means the world to me, and I'm really grateful. So wish you all a safe and peaceful night. Have a good day ahead. Take any bit of joy you can from it, and take really good care of yourselves. Much love from me, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care, darlings. Bye bye.